Hello everyone and welcome to a new podcast episode. Today I kind of wanted to give you guys a little life update and talk about some big changes that have been happening in my life and something that I've been going through for the past few months, and not in like that sounds like really negative or like some really insane thing has happened, but it's just been a life update and I thought I would talk to you guys about this. So you might know about this if you read our newsletter or follow us on Instagram, but this year I'm on my year abroad, so I'm on my Erasmus or exchange or whatever you guys call it where you're from. I'm a university student and this year I will be spending a year in France, and right now I'm in Paris. For this episode, I kind of wanted to talk about my experience and maybe help any of you that are on your year abroad or are moving abroad alone soon. I wrote a little bit about this on our newsletter in September, but I wanted to really dedicate a podcast episode to this for all you guys that listen and follow our podcast. So as a little bit of background, I was not the person that was excited about their year abroad. And yes, I know that I'm privileged even to be able to do this, and so many people would love to be in my position, but I'm speaking from my point of view and how I was feeling. So of course I'm grateful for the opportunity, but at the same time that does not mean that it was not difficult or something difficult for me to do. I have been honestly dreading the year abroad ever since I started uni, and I tried to find ways to get out of it. Honestly, and I was not excited, I did not want to do it, and my whole sort of mindset about the year abroad was very much a negative one. There was barely anything positive that I could find about this amazing experience. So yeah, because it wasn't something that I wanted to do, and for the person that I am, is that I don't like being in places I'm unfamiliar with, so it makes me super anxious and super stressed, and I just hate it so much. So of course, moving abroad to a whole new country, even though it's not that far away, it's still a whole new country. I don't know anyone. I speak the language, but not very well. So it was, of course, an extremely daunting prospect. And honestly, I think I was so negative about it because I was just so scared. And this was something so far outside of my comfort zone that it didn't even seem like something fathomable that I could do. Like, it didn't even seem possible. So over the 2 years that I've been at uni, I think I got better. I got more independent, more at ease with being away from family. But when it came to this August, so August 2024, I had to move to Paris. I had to start my new life, and it was a crazy feeling. And, the days before, weeks before, every time I think about it, I just feel this like dread, and it was so difficult to take that first step. So the first thing I want to say is that it's okay if you're feeling like I'm feeling. It's okay if you're scared. It's okay if you're having negative emotions about this experience, and I honestly think everyone is scared or has doubts when they're starting something new and something so different to what I've ever experienced, and this is just a normal reaction. So definitely don't feel bad if you feel like this as well. And coming from me, I'm here 2 months later almost, and I've survived. So I really wanted to make this episode to kind of give a virtual hug to everyone that might be struggling right now, might be having to move, not even abroad, but just to a different area of your country where you don't know anyone, where it's all new, and just know that we can support each other and it will all be okay. And obviously I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but sometimes you've really, really got to just let go, and what happens will happen, and not try and fight it, because the more I tried to fight it, the worse it was for me. And the more I was just like, okay, I'm just going to get through today. Whatever happens, I can't control it. That was when it really started to feel less like this insanely scary thing. So this experience might be challenging, full of ups and downs, but that's normal, and that's more normal than you might realise. The majority of us struggle when moving abroad, and for good reason. So be kind to yourself, because it's natural for things to be difficult in the beginning. It's natural for them to be difficult even for a while. Trust in your ability to navigate these tough moments and try to find comfort and joy in the small day-to-day things. So one of the first things I realized very quickly was that I can't take this experience too seriously. For me at least, my year abroad doesn't count towards my final grade, so my advice would be to not take things too seriously. Though if you're like me, that is easier said than done. Even if you're not moving somewhere for university, maybe it's a job, or maybe you're just moving somewhere new, it's so liberating to just keep reminding yourself to not take things so seriously. You know, this could be one of the few chances you have to live abroad or live by yourself and if you're going to university, without the usual pressures of a career or other adult responsibilities. So have fun, explore new places, and don't worry if your grades or your exam results aren't what you're used to. As long as you're getting what you need to get to pass, then there's no need to stress. There's no need to do more than you have to do because it's already an incredibly stressful and overwhelming experience. There's no point putting more stress and pressure on yourself to make things perfect. And this goes on to my next point, which is to not put pressure on yourself to have the perfect experience, because I think the year abroad seems sometimes like the quintessential experience as a student. And it's something that, in my mind, I thought people go and have the best time. But I'm not going to have the best time because I struggle with anxiety and social anxiety especially. So the idea of having to be in an environment where I know no one and have to basically start from scratch was just so hard for me to wrap my head around. But it's extremely important to not put pressure on yourself to have the perfect experience. Before I went abroad, I spoke to teachers about my apprehensions and anxieties, and you know what they said? They said, you will have the best time. My year abroad was the best time of my life. And, honestly, I know they meant well, but in that moment, that didn't help me. I didn't care that they had a great time. I wanted them to realize that I couldn't do this. That's how I was feeling, that I really could not do what I had to do. And that's what freaked me out the most as well, is that I had to do it. There was no choice. I couldn't run away from it. We put so much pressure on ourselves to have the picture perfect lives. And a big part of my anxiety was, and still is, will I make friends? Will I make my memories? Will this change my life? All these things that actually make the experiences less enjoyable because you put so many expectations on yourself on how to behave or what your year abroad should look like. In actual fact, we should find the positive in everything. Maybe we won't connect with as many people. This is okay. You're only here for temporarily. We still have so many years ahead of us where we can have new experiences and meet new people. The year abroad isn't your only opportunity to have the time of your life, and that is something that really helped me when I was going through my first few weeks abroad. Was that actually, if I'm a bit sad and maybe I'm not having actually a good time, that's okay and that's normal. And the year abroad doesn't have to be this picture perfect celebration, I think, and that goes the same with just life in general. Life doesn't have to be constantly 100% positive, 100% good. It's okay to, have some down days, have some days where you're not feeling as positive about things. And the year abroad will be definitely an experience where there will be ups and downs constantly. And that's something that you need to kind of accept as just how it is on the year abroad. And I can guarantee everyone feels the same. Even the people you see online that are going out, seem like they have loads of friends, seem like they're having the best time of their life. I'm telling you, they also have moments where they have little wobbles, where maybe they're not feeling as positive, maybe they feel like they don't have any friends. And it's so normal, and that makes me feel better as well, because if I'm having a day where I'm a bit like, God, I have no plans. I have no one to do anything with. It kind of makes me feel a bit better. And it's funny how the year abroad works, because one week I can feel really negative and sad, and then the next week I'm going out every night, every day I'm meeting someone to do an activity, whether that's go to a museum, go to a new restaurant. So it's really, I feel like the year abroad has really shown me the dualities of life, because I can go through a week of just being sad, missing home, wanting to just not be here anymore, and just go back to where I'm from, go back to my family, and then the next week I could be having the best time and actually enjoy my life in Paris. So that's why it's important not to put so much pressure on yourself to constantly have a picture perfect life, because that's just not realistic, and it doesn't need to happen. You don't need to have a perfect experience to still have amazing memories and still have a good experience that you can take something from, if that makes sense. And I think we just need to be content and proud of ourselves for the small things that we managed to get done, because especially in the beginning and even now, like, it's a difficult experience. It's not easy for people like me, and I'm sure people listening will feel the same. It's not an easy thing. So, taking it day by day and celebrating the small things that we do, even if that's going to the shops because you've been really anxious to go shopping in a new place where you don't really understand what they're saying, that should be celebrated, and that should be, something you write down in your journal, something that when you look back on your experience, that is also something to celebrate, the fact that you conquered so many fears. And the next thing is quite an obvious one, and I feel like a lot of people say that, is to stay connected with friends and family, because being abroad it can feel lonely, and you can, whether you're feeling down or just need a casual chat, it helps to have people that you can rely on. So being in a place where you might not speak the language fluently can feel very isolating. So having someone to call or message when needed has really helped me, and I definitely recommend, if you don't have a sort of support system that you can rely on, I definitely would say, if you're struggling with anxiety and stuff like that, therapy is always an option. But also you can find communities online, on Facebook, on Instagram, where there are people who are in the same position as you that want help and want to chat about maybe how they're feeling and things like that. And that kind of goes on to my next point, which is to connect with as many people as you can. And I know this is easier said than done, and it's not something that we can always do if we suffer from social anxiety. And I suffer from social anxiety as well. But the one thing that I really have already brought from this year abroad is how incredible it is to meet so many new people from all over the world, different walks of life. And I find that that's the best part so far, because you come, and that is why it's scary, but it's also great to go on your year abroad without people, without your closest friends. Of course, it's also a good thing. So, there's a good and bad of both, because I would have also liked to have someone that I could, especially in the first few weeks, rely on, and we could have explored the city together instead of being alone. But the good thing about being alone is that, and the good thing about the year abroad is that everyone wants to make friends. This is probably like the only time where everyone wants to find people, everyone wants to do things. And my thing I told myself was, you know what, I'm anxious about this, but let's just talk to everyone. Let's just make loads of friends or loads of people to talk to share life experiences. And that is something that I've really, really enjoyed from the year abroad. I have learnt so much about different countries, about different cultures, and connected with so many people from different places I've never been to or never even thought about. And this is what the year abroad is all about, I think. That is what life is about, making connection and building connections with people. These people don't necessarily have to become your best friends that you can't live without in the world, that you're gonna know for years and years and years. Life is also about the subtle, smaller connections, the people you speak to in class, the ones you talk to at lunchtime. These connections for me are far more important than anything else, especially in my year abroad, because I know that being here is temporary, and a lot of people are only here for 4-5 months. So take the opportunity. And the thing is that even if you embarrass yourself, or maybe you don't end up liking, or you just don't end up vibing with one person, they're going to go, or you're going to go back home soon. So you'll never have to see them again. So take risks. And even if you think, oh God, this might be really embarrassing to go to this event alone, or go to this event with a person I've never met before, do it anyway, because the worst that can happen is that you don't click. And honestly, that's very rare, because I think it's important to keep reminding yourself that yes, there can be some people that aren't very nice out there, but the majority of us, of us want friends, want connection, and that is something that's made me feel a lot more confident to kind of go out and just chat with anyone and everyone until they become your friends. And a good thing, and that's what this year abroad has taught me so far, is that it's given me skills to just talk to people and treat everyone like you're already friends, because chances are, as I said, people also want company and they're just as scared as you are to initiate conversation. And the final tip is to keep yourself busy. Even if you're alone, make an effort to go out and explore. Not only will you discover new places in your city, but staying busy is a great way to distract yourself when you're feeling homesick or anxious, because sometimes distraction is one of the best ways to cope with difficult times. So whenever I always try and plan at least 2 things a week that I can do, because I do find that if I'm stuck inside all day with my thoughts, or just in my bed, or just on the sofa, that's not good for my mental health. I don't know if it's kind of like cabin fever, but I end up getting anxious to just leave my apartment. Just to walk out the door makes me feel anxious. So I think it's really important to keep yourself busy and keep doing things. And that doesn't have to mean like you're going to the clubs every day, like not at all, but like keep yourself busy in the sense that go for a walk, go to a cafe, go to the library at uni, do some study. Like even if you have to do work, go to a different place other than just staying in your apartment, because it will give you a new sort of perspective, or a new place to do things. And that is really important, to not like stay confined in the 4 walls of your flat or wherever you're living. So all in all, the year abroad, or moving abroad in general, can be very scary and a very scary experience. And it might not go to plan, but there's always a lot to think about. But even if it's hard, it's worth it. And I'm telling you now because it really changes you as a person and offers you an incredible opportunity to grow, and also spend some time with yourself and reflect on things like life in general. Because I find when I'm away from where I'm from England, I can kind of look at my life with perspective and think about the things that I actually really enjoy, the things that I miss, and the things that I could actually change about the life that I lead in England. So it's actually a great time as well to do a bit of self-reflection. It's important to push yourself, and of course take breaks when you need, but pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone truly is an incredible thing to do, and nothing is as hard as starting. So take the leap of faith and do the thing that you are scared of, and try to welcome it with open arms. And I think it was Mel Robbins that says, the hardest thing to do is start. And she uses this technique of when you just count down from 5. And so to say you're scared to go into a room full of people that you don't know, you just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you go. Because the hardest thing is kind of pushing yourself off the platform, if that in that way, like off the diving board, to go into the water. And yeah, so that's what, like, the hardest thing to do is to start. And I also have found that actually my thoughts about it, thinking about it, it was actually worse than doing it. So, and that's something I learned from when I went to therapy as well. But really, our mind plays tricks on us. Our mind makes things a lot worse than they actually are. And a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, things are actually worse in our head than when we actually just do it. So just push yourself, and I believe in you. You can do it. You're strong enough to do it. I did it. If I can do it, then anyone can do it, because I suffer a lot with social anxiety and a lot with anxiety in general. And I'm not going to say it was easy. I'm not going to say everything's perfect now. Not at all. It was probably the hardest thing I've had to do to date, but I've done it, and I'm so proud of myself, and you will be so proud of yourself to just continue and keep going, even if it feels like it's impossible. So yeah, thank you for listening to Cultivate Kindness today. I hope you liked the topic that I talked about, and if you want me to do some more maybe some more tips about the year abroad, then let me know and I'd be happy to do that. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast on your preferred platform, and don't forget to leave us a review. Your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our podcast as well. For even more uplifting content and the behind the scenes stories, follow us on Instagram at Cultivate Kindness. Well, at __ Cultivate Kindness __, but that is always linked below. And finally, you can join our monthly newsletter where we delve deeper into mental health topics and sort of the topics that we talk about on our podcast. So yeah. And that, as always, is also linked below. And you don't have to subscribe. You can read it without subscribing. But you can also subscribe for free, and a newsletter will be delivered to your inbox every month, which is really great. And we really love using Substack for that. And yeah, and until next time, take care of yourself and those around you. Bye.